these guys like who would be Gary Vaynerchuk is a good idea. And not that he's stupid, he's awesome. But I'm just not a fan of his some of the things that he says. But they talk about failure a lot. Oh, you got to get out there and fail. Failure is a part of success. It's part of the process. You're going to strive. You're going to fail. So everyone goes out and they start celebrating at their failures. Like they'll contact me really and go, I've lost $6,000, man. I'm on my way. I'm like, dude, while failure is a part of the process, it's not the goal. Like you should be trying to get out of losing money as quickly as possible. You're going to lose some in the beginning, but there's no pride in losing money in this game. There's no pride in failure unless it's a step, so I think it's a real dangerous thing to just say like, get out there and fail. The steps to success is fail, fail, fail. It's like, I don't know, man.
Get it. They just did like a cross promotion. They just did a JV partnership. He had to make money online, free course. She had a list of poor musicians, and they blasted it out. And I took his course, and it was a 30-day course on basically SEO. And I made a sale. It took me like 90 days, and I made a $27 sale, and I was excited and got hooked. And that was the very, very beginning. And I did that for a few years, making not a lot of money, but enough to make it worth my while. And then I ended up moving. My life was a mess. I was a drunk. I was a musician. I was out of control. I was in a lot of trouble all the time. And I moved to LA to kind of change my life. And I didn't have a job when I moved here. And so I focused, for the first time ever, I focused on my SEO campaigns 100%. And during that first 3 weeks, I was contacted out of nowhere by an affiliate manager. You know how they go look up websites and contact people and go, hey, I'm Steve from whatever network, and we've got the better payouts. And this was the first time I'd ever, and these days I don't even respond to those people. But the first time I'd ever seen it, and he hit me up out of nowhere. He had found one of my sites in a search engine, and he contacted me and said, hey, I see you're doing dating ads or something, dating blogs, and I wanted to introduce you to some of our offers. And I was perplexed, so I called the dude. We had a conversation. He said, I can help you with your dating offers, or there's this other thing that people are doing. And he told me the numbers they were doing, and it was in the tens of thousands of dollars a day revenue. And I was making maybe $3,000 a month with working all the time for years. And I had built this SEO thing. He said, yeah, I've got guys doing like $50K a day. I was like, what? Doing what? Like, what do I have to do? And he said, I could help you expand on what you're doing now, or you could pause what you're doing there. Let me show you this other thing. And we spent the next week or so going over it. And he showed me AdWords. He showed me the offers. We signed up for the network, and he coached me along the way. And I think within 30 or 60 days, I was one of the biggest affiliates they had on their network. It just clicked with me, and it exploded. And I rode the wave for years. Still am riding the wave, really.
What network was that?
Oh, what were they called? No, I'm not going to say.
No, I won't. Okay. I remember mine was Azoogle. I think Azoogle was the first one that I got in contacted with back in the day.
I guess it's no problem. They were called Motive Interactive.
Oh, I know Motive. Yeah. Nice.
This was 10 years ago, 9 years ago. So good to hear they're still around.
Here, I just noticed something. Do you have a pair of headphones you could slip on? Just because when I talk, I can hear it in your end here.
I've never done this. This is so cool. And now I feel like I'm on Rogan because where is the input?
Well, we'll need some edibles and some caveman coffee. And
hey, all I have to do is walk about 3 steps that way, and we'll be good.
Nice. Well, I'm in Victoria, British Columbia, where there are more legal dispensaries than there are Starbucks.
Cool. Yeah.
There's like 20 legal dispensaries like within a kilometer from where I am right now. It's a weed lover's paradise.
Yeah, it's a big deal, man. It's been a game changer for me. Drinking didn't work. Like I said before, I was a straight up lunatic drunk, and I spent maybe 8 years completely never did anything, and then I tried the legal marijuana on a doctor's recommendation, and it's been a big help for me anyway. So, but I wouldn't do it if it wasn't legal. There's no way in hell I would even bother with it if it wasn't legal. But that's cool.
Really, I'm curious about that. Just because you wouldn't want to risk that, basically, with all you've kind of built up and you know, all that you've come from that place. Now you're here. Like, you just wouldn't want to risk the legal implications of the.
Yeah, it's not worth it. It's being able to get high is not worth risking. A 10-year jail sentence or something.
Yeah, I guess it's for real in the States too. It's always in Canada. It's always felt like it's only going to be a slap on the wrist anyway, because I guess it's been decriminalized here for quite a long time. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, where I come from, I'm originally from Oklahoma, and they're still giving people life sentences and 30 years, 20-year sentences for a joint and stuff. So it's not worth it.
So for you, why was the move to LA so important? Was it just I know people tend to, like, it's almost like in our DNA as like settlers, like, to go west, to go somewhere else. Like, why was it so important for you to head west, my son, in order to like restart your life?
It was a move, a couple things. My life was a train wreck. I had wrecked my life. I was 34 years old when I left, so I wasn't a young guy really. I had lived a long life, and it had gone really badly, and I found myself in a position of either I didn't know how much longer I would make it in the area I was in. I wanted to clean up my life and change it, and moving and getting away from all of the stuff that was around me was the best bet that I had. I was dating a girl that lived here in Beverly Hills. We were doing a long distance thing. And that was the other side of it. She invited me to move here. I moved here, and California just has this vibe. The day I got here, I woke up that first morning and I could breathe in. In Oklahoma, my allergies were really bad, and here they didn't bother me. And I started meeting people, and everyone was about like this universal energy and this weird art and music. And I was like, this is the greatest place on earth. But it was really twofold. I was pursuing a relationship, and then even more importantly, I was desperately in need of a change. And I lucked out, man. I got here, and within 60 days, I think that's when my affiliate stuff exploded. Maybe even 40 days. Wow. From not knowing anything to being a monster, like just on top of the whole industry up there at the top. It was crazy. It happened really fast. It was amazing, kind of accidental. I wasn't planning it or anything. It just all went boom, and my whole life changed in a matter of months.
And your first big hits were in search engine marketing.
Well, I was doing SEO for making enough to get by.
Yeah.
But the big hit it was AdWords. Yeah, PPC, search, AdWords.
Nice.
This is in 2008, late.
Okay.
And they were much more affiliate friendly back then. You could load up a campaign of just about anything, set the budget to $1 million a day, and just let it fly, and they would just run it. And these days, it's much more, it's hard to run kind of affiliate stuff on AdWords. But I loved it. I wrote it hard while it lasted. But that was the first big hit with AdWords.
Yeah, for me too. I came up in the industry as an internal affiliate at Neverbloom. And my first big win was e-cards, making e-cards work, building little mini sites that were like putting a skin on IAC e-cards, fun cards. And I remember we did 28 grand one day on a Valentine's e-card little mini site. And I was like, in order to like play with Google at that time, which I think was around 2007, 2008, we were having to write like blog posts about why e-cards are the best, and just to like get content into our little mini sites around e-cards. But that rush, and this wasn't even my money. I was making good money at the time, but it wasn't my money. It wasn't my money I was putting on the line. I was like I say, I was an internal affiliate. But that rush of hitting the refresh button and just seeing something take off is, maybe I'm still chasing that to some extent with what I'm doing now.
We all are. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I have a massively addictive personality, no matter what it is, like pushing F5 and refreshing. When I to see sales come in that fast. In the beginning, it wasn't tremendously quick, but you could refresh and you'd have more clicks and maybe another sale. It was just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And then you push it again and $50 more. And you're like, what? I remember in the beginning, I never had access to the ocean. So I was working online with Motive, making a little bit of money, a couple $100 a day here and there. I would go out to the beach 5 days a week. And my favorite thing to do was sit there with my iPhone, and they didn't have an app, but I was just log into their site, and I'd sit there on the beach and click refresh, and it would go 35 more. And I'm looking around going, no one, and you get, boom, 70 more.
Yeah.
And it just exploded my mind. Here we are 9 years later, and I've probably refreshed my stats 100 times a day. Like, I still do it. It's one of the most fun parts of the game, especially when the numbers get crazy.
We're fully integrated with Slack and Stripe and PayPal. So we're selling our Facebook Masterclass and the 6-week Affiliate Mastery Challenge, which is just about to start. And so we get notified every time a sale comes through. And now I've augmented it so that I have because one of my second big success, or one of my other big successes, was with Yahoo. It was with Yahoo media buying, display media buying. So I got a nice Yahoo. I got a Yahoo button that I like to carry around with me that does the old Yahoo kind of as a joke. So every time we get a sale, I'm slamming the Yahoo button, and everyone in the office gets to hear that glorious cry from the early 2000s that everyone loves so much.
Yeah, man. I did that for a while. I had a thing set up with ClickBank really, really early on. Before the paid traffic, I was promoting some ClickBank offers. And it would email you every time you made a sale. Probably making like 8 sales a day. And I could put a sound on that email so it would sound like a cash register.
Nice.
So I'd be sitting there with my iPhone and I'd hear cha-ching, and I'd just go, oh my God, and then it would go pa-ping, another 10 minutes later, and you're just thinking, this is insane. But after a while, like everybody I know that's done a cash register sound, once you scale to a super high volume, it becomes like the novelty wears off, because it's like ka-ching, 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 ka-ching all day long. People are like, what's wrong with your phone? Like,
I have an addictive personality.
Yeah, totally.
I wanted to, what's the art behind you? I don't know if you've talked about that in your podcast. I just had to ask, what is that?
I can't tell you, to be honest.
Interesting.
It's stuff that
it's personal.
No one is personal. Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Like Picasso's or anything like that. There's some prints of some amazing art that I just personally like.
Very cool.
I've got a lot of my grandfather's art in here too. He was a painter, an artist, and I have a bunch of his stuff. But behind me is just some prints of some other stuff.
Nice. I wanted you to finish a little bit more about your story. So you got up to the point where you're a super affiliate, just killing it on a bunch of different traffic sources. Then at what point did you decide that you wanted to create your own sort of like, not guru? Because I think of you you're kind of like an anti-guru in a way. Because it's like most of your videos that you even talk about, you're not even really talking about marketing on most of your videos these days. You're sort of talking about life and inspirational things and stuff like that. But like, when did you decide that you wanted to, first of all, create Mad Society?
I didn't. People asked me to build it, or I never would have built a forum. I had no intention of building a forum. Well, let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
What happened with the guru type stuff, the only reason that I do this is like 2 years ago or whenever it was, I had a blog and no one really read it. I had poetry and my little daily stuff that I was up to, and 10 people read it a week. Then one day I wrote a post about affiliate marketing, about how, I forget what it was, but I wrote one post and I published it. And I usually, like I said, I got 5 or 10, maybe 50 views on an article that I would post. And this one went live, and I watched it, and like midway through the next day, all of a sudden I just had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people viewing this thing. I thought I was under attack. They were all from Asia, and I didn't know where this was coming from. I'd never seen it like this. And then it took me about a day to figure it out. And what had happened was Charles No had posted it on his Facebook, and he had a pretty big blog building at that time as well. And he retweeted it and posted it on there. So I had like 900 people from all over the world, Croatia and China and Korea and all these places. And I thought, and like any good addict, I was like, well, okay, 1,000 people read this post.
Yep.
Let's do that again. Like I wrote another one.
You got any more of that traffic?
Yeah. Like, let's see what happens now. And a bunch of people, maybe like 150 people signed up on my email list a day. that I did that. And so I posted another affiliate thing, and sure enough, it just swarmed, and people signed up on my list. And then I got hooked on it, and I started doing it twice a week. And that's been going on now for years, not as often as I used to, but it just kind of happened by accident, and wasn't planned. I wasn't like going to build, I'm going to start a blog and make some money with it. I just literally wrote what I was up to that day. 1,000 people viewed it, and I just was like, okay, I just kept doing it. And now it's been 2 years. And the Mad Society thing was kind of the same. I was doing a Periscope show in the mornings called Morning Coffee with Malin D, where I just turned on Periscope and talked to whoever showed up. And we ended up, it was mostly about marketing. Yeah, man, coffee cheers.
Coffee, water cheers. Whatever. Hydration cheers. Dehydration in my case.
That's where all this was on Periscope. It was like 3 to 5 days a week. We were talking about live campaigns. They were asking me questions. We were just having fun. And they at some point they said, we need somewhere to hang out when you're not on Periscope. Like, I said, I don't know. They said, make a Facebook group. I was like, okay, I made a Facebook group, and a couple hundred people signed up for it instantly. I was like, what is this? And then they wanted me to hang out with them. I said, well, I don't have time to hang out in there. There's nothing. It's not like I spend my time on things that make money, and this is fun. Yeah. There's nothing in it for me. And they said, well, charge us. I said, well, what would you guys pay? Like, what it looks like? They said, well, it would be a forum. We'll pay you whatever a month. They gave me different price ranges. They said you could post stuff here, and then you'll be financially incentivized to hang out with us and spend time there. And I said, okay. I said, if I build it, will you guys actually sign up? They said, yes. And I built it. One of the guys actually built it for me. One of the people, Darren, if you're watching, this guy, Darren, got a hold of me and said, I'll help you build it. So he built it for me. We started letting in like 5 people a week just to make sure it worked. And anytime I would allow 5 people to sign up, like 50 people would sign up. I'm like, what is this? And so slowly we finally opened doors, and, several hundred people signed up, and it's been running for 2 years. And I never in my life would have imagined running an affiliate marketing forum, but it kind of just, like I said, it built itself.
And it did to some but the necessity was created by what? Your transparency, your honesty, like all of your crystal clear radio voice, all of these things. It was just, there was something that really drew people to you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely different. Like, and I've had to. It's a slippery slope doing this kind of, when you talk about affiliate marketing, because everyone goes down the route of, the dry erase board, and today's tips for affiliate marketing is number 1. Here we go. Landing pages, and all this stuff. And for me, like, I did slip into that for a few months, but it just wasn't sustainable. I couldn't make things up like that on a regular basis. And when the YouTube channel really took off was when I stopped doing, today we're going to talk about how to deal with low ROIs on mobile. When I stopped doing that and didn't prepare at all, and I just turned the camera on, no preparation, put the microphone in front of me and was like, hey, good morning. How you guys doing? Here, coffee, cheers. And we just kind of sit around and talk. When I started doing that, like my subscribers started growing 5 times as fast. Like, instead of getting 10 a day, I'd start getting 50. Yeah. I was like, I think I figured it out. I just talk. Sometimes it's about affiliate marketing. Sometimes it's not. And then in the forum, people tell me where they found me is one of the things I like to know. Like, how did you even get here? And a lot of them now say YouTube. Like, your YouTube marketing is really working. I'm like, well, I'm not marketing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just talking, and it seems to work. But yeah, people I think the industry needs a real voice. They need to see that. Like, I tell people when I lose money, I tell people about the bad times.
Yeah.
Because way too many people just show sports cars.
Yeah.
And these freaking beach sceneries with feet up, like, I'm just living the dream.
Yeah.
And they're not. Nine times out of 10, these guys have never done anything of significance, and the only money that they've ever made is by selling courses to new people who don't understand. There's very few, like 1% of the people that talk about affiliate marketing actually have done anything with it. The rest are just pretenders. And so there's another, like my name checks out. You can ask around. There's no debate on whether I'm for real or not. And not to brag, I'm just saying, ask anyone. Ask anyone that's been in the industry for the last 10 years, and they can show you screenshots of numbers or whatever. And I think it's important to have some real people talking about it. Like I said, most of it's garbage. There's, Jason's great. Jason Akativ, Charles knows for real. All the guys from Stack That Money they've all done incredible things. It's all legit, but it's the weird little side bloggers, or the guys on YouTube that are, older dudes with cheap headphones, and you can see their house is falling apart in the background, and they're selling this $1 million system. And
the system, dude, right? Yeah. It's funny, when we did our webinar for the last 6-week AMC, I had someone come in to who'd done a lot of webinars before and talk to me about it, and I showed them the script, and he's like, in this script, when you talk here, he's like, you're going to tell people that they're going to lose money. And you say that way too much in this webinar. And it was a highly successful webinar. We ended up selling a lot of seats for the 6-week AMC, but I think we probably said over 10 times now, remember, when you start affiliate marketing, you're going to lose money. And it's just I bet that is sort of like an anti-webinar in that sense, and that's something we try to do in iStack training, is really walk that line, let people know that this isn't a system for money making. These are skills that you can build on over time, and you can make a lot of money with it if you really put yourself into it. But it's not a check the box system that has you making money at the end of it.
Yeah, and that's what everyone really is dying to see. That's why ads like One Weird Trick works so well, because everyone wants the blueprint, the shortcut, the special secret sauce, my private system that I've used for years. And like you said, it does, there are systems that work, and the money that's being made is real, but in the beginning, you will lose money. I lost $3,000 my first month. And the best part of that is, what I tell people is, you're definitely going to lose money, maybe even all of it. But the reason, it's not because it's a scam or because it doesn't work. It's because you suck at affiliate marketing right now, and you're going to suck until you spend some time and put some money in the game and learn some lessons. And that could take 30, 60, 90 days at minimum.
And you can speed that up.
It's going to be...
I was going to say, you can speed that up by joining Mad Society, joining STM, taking one of the courses. These are ways that there are ways you can speed up that learning curve, which is important to note. But the thing is, you still have to go through all that stuff yourself.
Yeah. Working with a mentor or someone legit, a lot of mentors are even worse. They're charging people $10,000, $15,000 to work with them, and they don't teach them. They confuse people, and that's their game. But Stack That Money, when I started, there was no resource like Stack That Money or Mad Society or App Playbook or anything like that. You were on your own. It was you, and if an affiliate manager wouldn't help you, you were screwed if you didn't have friends. But the forums can definitely shortcut you. But there's still going to be that period where you launch, even if I posted my exact campaign that I'm running right now, let's say it's making $1,000 a day. Even if you launch it, you're going to lose money on it in the beginning, because there's no, you can't just copy and paste something and make it work immediately. It's weird like that. It's almost like there's a weird magic in 3 people could launch the same campaign the same day. 2 of them fail miserably, and 1, for some reason, makes all the money. It's a very strange thing that I've seen many, many times, but you will lose money. Yeah. And people have to know that.
And they do. But you're not going to hear that from all the Ferrari drivers out there. That's not part of their sales pitch, which is why they probably have a wider funnel, a wider and but a shorter customer life cycle maybe, or something. They don't, because people get disillusioned and they bounce out or whatever. But that's something we're trying to walk with, because we want to affiliate media buying, your whole your intro where you talked about coming from SEO into affiliate media buying, where you sort of decided, okay, I'm going to force the issue. I want to have to stop relying on people to come to properties and build stuff up over time. I want to buy traffic and really, force the issue. As I say, this is what I talked with Lorenzo about last week. And it's just, it allows you to accelerate your learnings that much quicker. But it also accelerates the risk for potential losing as well.
Yeah. The SEO thing is safe. It's hard to lose. All you lose is time, but you lose a lot of time. And the potential upside is so small. I don't know anyone who's built a multi-million-dollar SEO business in the last half a decade or decade. Maybe they're out there. I don't know any of them. Yeah. And if they do, if you do scale SEO, it's usually so black hat that it's short lived, you know?
Yeah.
So with this stuff, yeah, you can't force the issue, but you will lose money fast as well, for sure. But that's good too, because sometimes, yeah, every dollar you lose is like another lesson learned. And so you shouldn't race out, and this is important, you should not race out and try to lose money, because, you know, everybody's so stupid. These guys like, who would be, Gary Vaynerchuk is a good idea. And not that he's stupid, he's awesome. But I'm just not a fan of some of the things that he says, but they talk about failure a lot. Oh, you got to get out there and fail. Failure is a part of success. It's part of the process. You're going to strive. You're going to fail. So everyone goes out and they start celebrating at their failures. Like, they'll contact me really and go, I've lost $6,000, man. I'm on my way. I'm like, dude, while failure is a part of the process, it's not the goal. Like, you should be trying to get out of losing money as quickly as possible. You're going to lose some in the beginning, but there's no pride in losing money in this game. There's no pride in failure, unless it's a step. You know, so I think it's a real dangerous thing to just say, like, get out there and fail. The steps to success is fail, fail, fail. It's like, I don't know, man.
The whole Vaynerchuk thing with it's all the grind, right? Like, you're not winning unless you're working yourself to death, more or less. Like, that whole idea is a little bit difficult to swallow. Like, I don't know if it's a West Coast thing, but like work-life balance, you know, I'm working my ass off in what I'm doing now, but work-life balance is a very important thing. And that's obviously, I got a kid too. So that's something that I'm hyper-focused about. But yeah, there are some of those higher end gurus. Him and Grant Cardone is someone that's like, I remember I saw an infomercial with him where he's just like, every time you were out having a drink with a buddy, I was grinding, and all of this stuff. And I'm like, Grant, I don't know. I don't know if that's for me.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I watched like just a part of Grant Cardone one time, and wasn't my thing. But Gary's entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does push the basically exhaustion route, which is true. I mean, in the beginning, I'd say I worked 18 hours a day for the first 6 months.
Wow.
Like, I slept maybe 6 hours, and I slept with a laptop in my bed, and I was just so enveloped in the whole thing. Like, I was obsessed. And I think you do, there's a point where you can slack off, but in the beginning you really have to go crazy and put in those hard hours. But long term, you'll burn yourself out and fall apart. And you look at some of these guys that promote the exhaust yourself to success lifestyle, and they don't look good. Their face is pale.
Yeah.
You know, maybe their hair starts falling out. They're putting on weight or something. It's like, I don't know if that's what I want to do. You know, good for you, man.
Yeah.
Enjoy your fifth Ferrari or whatever it is you're going for. But it's not the route I take these days anyway.
Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to bring up here, this is I don't know if you know Paul J. Paul, but he's one of my close friends, and we've been working with him on a couple things. He met you at one event and was chatting with you, and he said one of the things he likes about you and your affiliate marketing sort of background is you've made a lot of random shit work. He said that there's a lot you're good at, like, because it's like when you look at an affiliate network, they have 100 offers or something like that, but they have they have only 5 or something that are really driving the bulk of the money. But he said that you've had in your experience, in what he knew of you, is that you've been able to take things. You've been that first mover on some things where you tried a new thing and you found a way to make it work. Is that, first of all, is that true? Would you own up to that description as someone who goes out there and tries new things? And then what do you have to say about that?
Well, it's a weird thing because I've done some things that were original ideas, and even if they weren't original, I was with the guy who we were kind of talking about it and came up with a concept. Maybe it was his idea, maybe I innovated on his idea, but I've been a first mover in some cases, but not all the cases. But I'd say 20% of the time they're brand new ideas, 80% I'm following everybody else, and then just innovating and making it better. But that being said, that 20% of original ideas that I came up with probably made the 80% of the money. Like the ideas that no one thought of exploded so big and transformed the industry in a way that almost to this day, if I go online and click through on ads, in 2017, I still see my images and graphics that I made on people's landing pages. These are things I made in 2008. 9 years later, the banner ads or whatever, the graphic, the blinking button, it's still on people's websites. It's the funniest thing. But yeah, man, so the original ideas are way harder to make them work because they're just not proven. But when you can make them work, when I've made them work, they've been bombs go off, like unbelievable type of stuff.
Yeah.
But the rest of the time is just, doing the normal, find what's working, launch that and try to make it better. And then I'll scale those things into oblivion.
But it seems like it's worth people's, if nothing else, just because the thing is that 20% that you created ends up being 80% of what other people try as well, because they'll fast follow you and copy it as well. So we need these prime movers. So I think it behooves affiliates out there to spend some of their time really trying to be original. Like, that's not a lot of the messages, just figure out what's working and replicate it. But there's got to be some effort put into thinking outside the box and creating shit, or the industry's going to stagnate.
Yeah, and it's where the most money is. Like when you come up, and I've read a story about a guy that came up with the Survey Lander.
Okay.
Or no, it was one of the sweepstakes, the original sweepstakes lander in like 2007. He came up with it. And I was able to, this is another thing. He was able to run it in obscurity, like no one knew about it. It takes about 3 or 4 months for people to catch on. And he talked about how his numbers went from losing a little bit to making 500 a day to 5,000 to 25,000. And then when you scale it that big, everyone sees what you're doing, copies it, and they flood the market copying your campaign. And you can feel the numbers go. They're going up, and you can just feel it kind of go, whoa,
watered down.
Starts to get weird. You're like, what's going on? And then you look around the web, and everyone's running your page or your ads, and you go, oh no, they got me. But that grace period of about 90 to 120 days when no one knows what you're doing, that's what the dreams are made of, man.
Nice.
But I forget where I read that. It was either in Stack That Money or on a Wicked Fire or something way back in the day. But it's a good time. And that's the downside, is when people see what you're doing, they will copy it. It's
sort of inevitable, right? Like in you yourself, that 80% of what you're doing is building on what other affiliates. It's sort of understood, I think, in the space to some extent, but it doesn't stop it from sucking when you see, that stuff being ebbed away. Even back to my eCards example, I have a friend of mine here in town who became a friend later, who used to leave comments on our blogs to be like, our eCards blogs to be like, hey, good idea, don't mind if I do. And like, he'd literally like leave a comment, and then I knew that we were going to see a clone of our site up a little bit later. And right now, this comes to me when I go out there and I look at the courses we're putting on, and I see, this is actually totally different, but I see all the pirates out there who are pirating the courses that we create, and all the places that you can get our courses for 90% discounts. Huge lore, I'm talking to you. Get us off of there. But yeah, it's a very interesting space, because it's still, in some sense, it's still the Wild West. There's still this, you can totally just kind of jump on board and copy people. But at the same time, you're not going to really succeed until you can create something original. You're not going to get to those really high levels unless you can kind of innovate, as I think.
Yeah, and innovation is the key word. There's a friend told me a long time ago. He said the money's not in invention, it's in innovation. Like the person who comes up with the idea never makes as much money as the guy who takes that idea and then innovates it.
Yeah.
And I notice that all the time. Like, back in the day, you could copy and paste a campaign. It'd have a pretty good chance of making money. But these days, what I do is I'll copy someone else's campaign. And this is good advice for anyone. I'll copy the campaign, and all it is a baseline for me to operate against. So if I launch a campaign and I see that Airflow has a 50-cent EPC or whatever, then my job is to work against it, start changing things, but use it as a bar.
Yeah.
So my job is just to beat the bar. So I'll only use their page or their images or their headline or whatever until I come up with what beats it. And then I'll try to beat that. So by the end, it's completely different than what I started with. And then people start stealing that idea from me. Here's another thing. Once I get it to the point to where it's dominating the original and 700 people steal the best version that I have and they start running it, I don't even get mad, because what I'll do is I sometimes get an alert that such and such domain is using your page. You can set up scripts to tell you. And then I'll just put them on a watch list and I can monitor their domains to see when they change my page. And when I get an alert that says they've changed something, like let's say they have a new headline, I'll just take the headline, put it on my page, split test it, and many thousand times theirs will blow mine out of the water. Nice. So yeah, they stole it from me and it pissed me off, but they ended up being like, I use them like employees. They're my split testers now, and I watch them. And if they put new images, I get an email that says new images has been added to whatever.com. I'll go grab it, stick it on my page, and go, hey, that's an extra $400 a day. Thank you, sir, or whoever you are.
It's inverted ad spying.
Yeah, so they're my employees, and I've been in that situation where I innovated a new lander, and it was taken by literally hundreds of people all at once. It blew up, and I got really mad. But after that experience, it taught me, like, okay, what's the script that'll tell you if someone jacks your lander? Okay, let me put that on.
Nice.
Now let me set this up to email me, and you can get kind of innovative with it. So when they steal it, instead of getting pissed off, you go, sweet, another one, another split tester.
Nice. You know? So what do you think is the, like, everyone talks about e-commerce these days. A lot of people are jumping on Facebook. What's your personal stance on sort of like where you're going to be putting your energies in the coming months in affiliate marketing? Are you trying to break into the e-commerce game, or are you really focused on whatever you've been traditionally running?
I'm not focused on it at all. I thought about it like a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. People started talking about it. Some of my friends are the biggest guys in that space now. But I learned a lesson a long time ago, and that is for me to stick with what I'm good at. And what I'm really good at is running traffic and creating customers for less money than I get paid by the company. Yeah, that's what I'm good at. I jumped off. Actually, no one knows this, but in the very, very beginning, I was doing SEO. I was running an ebook, and it was doing really well. I copied the product, changed the name, came up with my own version of it, and started promoting it. But unfortunately, it was too close to the original, and they shut me down. But I tried running my own product way back in the day. And then maybe 2010, I became a product owner. I stopped doing affiliate stuff. I built my own version of the product that I was running traffic for. And I tried that for a year. I spent a year working on it, and I think I broke about even for the whole year.
Oh, wow.
And it was a disaster. I didn't have any fun. I was on the phone with banks. I was talking to shipping warehouses and, post offices and all this crap. And it just didn't interest me at all. I went back to doing CPA, arbitrage marketing, and everything exploded again. And it just taught me a lesson, like no matter what people are doing, I don't care. Like I know what I'm good at, and as long as it's still working, I'm just going to continue doing it. The downside is you can't, you hear a lot of these e-commerce guys talk about building a business that they can sell someday, and you can't sell at a CPA marketing person's, I don't even have a team or anything. So you do miss out on that side of it, like the exit side where the huge money's at, but I don't even care. I make more money right now, and it's all good. I haven't, but as far as e-commerce, I haven't done any of it yet. I was there when it started, like the first flashlight campaign.
Oh yeah.
I was one of the first affiliates to run it. And that basically created that whole industry. So I have run those offers, but I've never built one.
Interesting. And yeah, I was just listening to your podcast about Johnny Depp, about it's not about how much money you make, it's how much money you keep as well, right? That's the metric that matters the most. It is mind-boggling to think how Johnny Depp has spent that much money, or Mike Tyson. Your story about Mike Tyson and his Vegas trips, all these peak experiences. That's sort of my next question. I wanted to get in a little bit about your lifestyle, and that's something that you kind of put on display a little bit in some of your podcasts. One thing, I'd like an update on your closet. I'd like to know whether your closet minimalism has maintained, because you took us on a tour on your podcast of the way your closet was. You had like 8 t-shirts or like 1 pair of jeans, and this idea of it's something my wife and I are going through right now. We've got a kid, and so we've just brought so much stuff into the house, so many games, so many plastic things. I'm kind of bad, like I buy clothes, and my closet is just this ever growing thing. So I'm interested in sort of applying some of these minimalist techniques, but I'm interested to hear from you whether you've maintained this sort of minimalist approach.
I've sort of maintained it. That video is hilarious because I just heard about this thing called whatever it was, the condo something, Mary Kondo.
Yeah.
And I did a video about it, not knowing that it was a massive trend happening in the world. That video, my videos usually get about 1,000, 1,500 plays. That video has like 115,000 views.
I saw that.
Because people are so into it. And I showed my closet. I went through the system and did it. If I showed it to you now, it looks exactly the same, but I did hang up some pants and shirts and stuff. So instead of just the 4 folded items of clothing and using her special folding method, I did go back to, I have some sweaters and sweatshirts and things hung in the closet. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. The thing I didn't tell anyone in that video was that I took everything and just put it in another closet. So that other closet does still exist.
Okay.
I literally haven't used, I maybe pulled 2 things out of there in the last year.
Yeah.
And so at some point, all going to go, but for now it's still there in the closet. But it's got stuff.
I have a 2 closet system too, basically, where I put a bunch of stuff that but what I'm trying to do is then go through that second closet, like, and I'd be like, have I touched this in a year? If I haven't touched it in a year, then it's gone, kind of thing.
That's the key. Like, if you want to minimize your life and live more of a minimal lifestyle, you do exactly that. Like with a desk, I've seen situations. I read an article where, and I did this with my desk. You take everything off the desk, everything. There's nothing on the desk, and then you think, what do I need? And you slowly, as you need it, you bring things back. Like, okay, I'm going to need a laptop, right? So you have your laptop.
Yep.
And then maybe you want a mouse, but only if you need it. Not that you might use it in the future. If you're missing the mouse, then you go to the box, you take the mouse, and you put it there. And if that's it, that's it. But if you go, okay, I need a pencil and a piece of paper desperately. Okay, now that's going to be here. But you only bring back things as they're needed. You'll be surprised, man. Like 80% of the things on your desk, you won't even bring back. You're like, why did I have that cactus? Why did I have that Superman toy?
Yeah.
Why was there a magnifying glass?
A Yahoo button.
I had a Yahoo button.
Purple Yahoo button.
I had 7 sets of headphones and all these cables. And it's a cool experiment. Just take everything, put it in a box, and then bring it back as needed. You can do that with your kitchen, with your bedroom, with your bathroom, whatever. And you'll be surprised how many things stay in the box. And you just, at some point, throw them away or donate them.
And I think I look at our closets, and it's like, we don't go into our closets hardly. They've just become these static, like, stacks of shit that we don't use. And it's like, we've talked about like moving into a new house, and it's like, why would we move into a house when we're not even properly like engaging and using the space that we have? So I think it's a really interesting thing for people to be conscious of, right? And I think affiliate marketers in general are people that they're sort of outside the box thinkers. They're living sort of non-standard professional lives. And so I imagine it's something that people think about. And it's cool that your video caught that trend. It's funny, when I watched that video this afternoon, I just saw 1,000 other videos on the side, each all about this specific minimalist thing.
Yeah.
So that was, I wonder if you converted any of those into affiliates.
I had to have, because the subscriber rate went through the roof. Everyone that watched that video subscribed, and it went on and on. The first day it had like 6,000 views, and then I would hit refresh and it'd go 7. I'm like, what is happening? But yeah, I picked up a lot of followers and people from that. But it's mainly women and mainly people interested in minimalism. So it didn't really like back out at the Mad Society forum or anything like that. But I think one thing to bring up too about affiliate marketing and this stuff is, when affiliate marketers can make way more money than they're used to, way more money than doctors and attorneys and stuff. And what happens in the beginning, I've seen it happen a lot. People will make tremendous amounts of money. They start buying stuff because it feels good, especially if you were broke as a child and when you were growing up, like I was. It feels fantastic to be able to buy like a Rolex or a Ferrari.
Yeah.
You start thinking about, oh my God,
Tesla X.
I need a Bentley, Tesla, helicopter, all these things. And I went through that phase, and I bought some Louis Vuitton crap and some Dolce & Gabbana bags and some things. So I bought a bunch of clothes, just thousands.
Your Versace shirts?
Yeah, it was going to make me feel good. Yeah, I actually had some Versace shirts.
I remember you talked about those.
I don't have them anymore. But what I ended up doing was I ended up giving most of that stuff away, put it in a trash bag and put it on Craigslist and just gave it to a guy, and he was ecstatic. But what I learned was that the buying things, that's why everyone has so much stuff, is because we're trying to make ourselves happy. And you keep thinking you can buy, if I had new MacBook with the cool toolbar on there, man, my life would be great. Then you get it and you go, okay, my life still sucks. Maybe I need a Ferrari, you know? And then you get a Ferrari and you're happy for like 2 days. And then you're in the Ferrari, like wanting to blow your brains out. And you start to realize that all these things that you're buying and that we stick in our closets and in storage shelters and like all these places, they don't do anything for you. No. They make you happy for a minute and then you feel like an idiot. I did anyway. So
I think you're going to complete your ego in some way, right? Like, oh, I need a new pair of shoes for fall. Yeah. I was just in a shoe store looking at a new pair of Nikes. I got an issue with shoes. And I'm like, oh, I don't have this kind of Nike. And that, once I put that into my repertoire, it'll really do what? Like, what will it really, what will someone notice? Like, oh, he's got those shoes versus those shoes. Like, how does that make your life any better, really? You know?
It's stupid. I carried that Louis Vuitton bag through an airport one time, and it had wheels on it, you know, on a suitcase. And I was so embarrassed. For some reason, it just made me feel terrible, like an idiot. And I never used it on a flight again. Plus, it was so expensive. I was terrified to let them check it.
Yeah.
Look, this bag costs more than your car.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna take it. You know they're gonna throw it, and so you're so scared. These days, you know what I use now? I went to Walmart and I got like a $19 suitcase. Nice. And when it breaks in half, I'll go get another one and just use that.
Yeah.
And I don't really care. But I think you go through that phase. Everyone goes through that phase when they get a couple extra bucks. You go blow it.
But at the same time, I think there are some things that you do want good shit for. You know, you do want to have, like, instead of buying a lot of shitty things, it's maybe sometimes better to buy one quality something, you know? Or am I deluding myself in that?
No. But the delusion, I think, and an ex-girlfriend told me this, she wanted everything Louis Vuitton. I said, why does it have to be Louis Vuitton? She said, oh, because the craftsmanship, it lasts so much longer. It's just not. Like, there's great, very well-made, cheaper stuff that you can buy. But I do think, like, when I made my first big haul or whatever, I was able to pay off my crappy little car and get a new, nice BMW car that I've driven now for 8 years. And I got a nicer place to live. So there are these certain things like, of course you want to upgrade. You don't want to have a crappy computer and you're making $4 million a year. You know, so that there's no shame in going out and getting a new MacBook Pro and stuff. But it's when you see the guys with the Rolex on each arm, the diamonds here, diamonds there. They're doing bottle service everywhere. Yeah. And number one, to me, that says I see an unhappy person who's like really trying to fill a hole left by their parents or something, not loving them or not being around. And then number two, they go broke. Like you see those guys who really start spending like crazy immediately. They're all back at jobs now, man. I've seen guys that were making $1 million, $2 million a year in 2008 and 2009. And then you talk to them now and they live in an apartment in Alaska or somewhere and they're working at an oil field. And you're like, what happened? They spent it all, you know? Right? Louis Vuitton, man.
Nice. So this kind of leads into my next thing I wanted to talk about, which is, I like to end these things by talking a little bit about peak experiences and like why people are, you know, you have an addicted personality. You're addicted to winning a little bit. You're addicted to like the winning feeling you get when you make campaigns work. But like, why do you do it? Like, what is it that affiliate marketing grants you? What do you do with your freedom that really like fulfills you or gives, even if it is just that dopamine hit? Like, what is it that you're sort of after in life?
Oh, that's a tough one. Let me say that this is the first thing that pops into my head is the reason I was so focused on it in the beginning. And I'm going to be real honest with you here. I'm going to be honest. I needed something to transfix my crazy brain on so that I could stay sober in a weird way. Like I was newly sober, lived here, didn't know anybody. And the affiliate marketing game and all the numbers and stats and the pushing the buttons, it really just controlled my crazy brain at first. You know, that's why I was able to sit in a room for 16 hours a day or 18 hours a day and do it. So that was the first thing that it gave me was just and when I'm working, it's almost like a meditation. That's why I like doing the work myself. I don't want to hire people to do it because when I'm working on these numbers, it sucks your whole mind into it. You're not really thinking about other things. You could get drawn into the thing. Yep. And it's like a meditation. So instead of me worrying about, what am I going to do I should have done this in high school. Why didn't I, do this thing in life? Instead of that drives me crazy and makes you want to drink booze to block it all out. I just get on the computer and I'm like in my world, and in my stats, I'm not thinking about anything. And I go to sleep and I made it through another day. So originally that was the big payoff. The money was fun too, but it afforded me a freedom from my own mind.
That's interesting.
For the first year or so that I was trying to stay off of the booze. But the other thing is it's the freedom. Let me just say this, and this is going to be truthful too. If I had to work a 9-to-5 job now, and I had been, and this had never happened, I would have blown my brains out by now, man. I don't think I could handle it. Even fun jobs like the marketing jobs at agencies, working for my friends, making a bunch of money.
Yeah.
I hated it, man. I hated it. It just does not work for me to have to put on an outfit and go to a place for 8 hours and do that. For me, it's given me the freedom. Number one, I get to be myself every day. I get to wear whatever I want. I don't have to report to anyone for any reason, for anything. And even if it wasn't making a bunch of money, I'd still do it. Even if I was broke, if I could do this and get by, I would. Because the freedom, there's no underestimating the freedom of getting to be yourself all the time. And you don't realize it until you make that transformation. Like when I look back, I'm like, how did I even go to that place and work and go to meetings and all this stuff? When you pull yourself out, you don't realize it at first, but you just feel this big weight lifted off. Like, wait a minute, if I want to tattoo my face with puzzle pieces, I could do it. If I want to wear drag, if I want to put on a dress and walk around in high heels, I could do it.
Yeah.
And no one can tell me I can't. So
I was just gonna say, you give some examples there that are extreme, but I also, after watching your videos, you're a bit of a life hacker. You're someone who likes to be able to say, okay, what happens when I get up at 4 and start working, or what happens if I get up? Like, it seems like you really earn the ability to do whatever the fuck you want with your life, and you're someone who uses that as well. You've hacked your life in all sorts of ways, by quitting booze, by jumping onto this and that. So I see it being sort of essential to your origin as well, is that you need this ability to experiment with what's really going to work for you.
Yeah. And as far as like origin story goes, like my dream was always to be a rock star, but the real thing was I just wanted freedom. I wanted to be able to. I didn't want to have to do anything like where I put on an Arby's uniform or something, or I worked at Subway for a couple of years. That just didn't fit for me.
Sandwich artist.
Perfect. Yeah, and when you free yourself up from the job, from having a job, because working a job is like 90% of your life, man. You're there most of the time.
Yeah.
And when you don't have to do that anymore, then you get to start having fun, like sleep hacking. And let me see what happens when I wake up at 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. Or what if I take a nap at 1 and wake up at 3 and then go back to sleep at 4 and then get stoned at 5. And then I go for a walk at 6. You get to program your life into whatever works for you. And you can't do that with a job, because when you're working a job, you only really have between the hours of 5 and 11 to be you, maybe 6 and 11 if you get home a little later. You get like 5 hours a day to try to be yourself. So it's nice to have all that time, and why not use it, man? I've tested every element of my life, and I still do.
Mm-hmm. You said you used to wanted to be a rock star, but I don't think that's true. I think because I've seen more and more of your music pop up onto your YouTube feed, and you're an active rocker, right? Like you have a band, you play in music. Would you consider that like one of your peak experiences? Is that one of the places that you're happiest, like on stage performing?
100%. And what I realized is when I was broke and I was a kid, I read an article, I think it was Madonna, said something like, no one should play music unless they have to. And to me, it made sense to me, because, why should some guy from a really well-to-do family and a rich kid from a rich family, why should he play music? He's taken the spot of someone who can't do anything else, who has no other option. And I lived my whole life by that rule. And then when I made a bunch of money, I kind of reconsidered, like, well, I don't need to play music anymore. But then, as the years went by, that hole grew bigger and bigger, and I realized I had the wrong definition of the word need. Mm. And instead of needing the money or the stardom or whatever, it's just the need to play and to sing and to record and just be an artist in that way. And so over the last 3 years or so, it's really started to pick at me like, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing any music? And so when I say I used to want to be a rock star, I still do. I guarantee you, if I were to tell you honestly, it's still maybe I'm delusional, but it's still my major push in life. It's the thing I want to do the most. And yeah, I've been tinkering around with music again, been writing with a guy every week here recently, and it's starting to flood its way back into the mix. But yeah, used to want to be is not truthful. Still want to be. I just was interrupted in my past, luckily, by affiliate marketing.
By great success.
It gave me all the freedom I wanted, but none of the release of playing music, I guess I should say. But yeah, man, music's still a part of my life, 100%. Love it.
Music is one of those things. I grew up in a boys' choir. This is ridiculous, but all through like grade.
Me too.
Yeah, I was in a boys' choir, and like I remember singing the Hallelujah chorus in a church in Montreal. And it was, I'm not a Christian person necessarily, but it had this deep sense of like spiritual oneness, of being like having these perfect acoustics and having 50 people all singing precise notes and the way it was composed. And it was great. And I listen to music incessantly. I'm a huge audiophile, but I don't perform it, or I don't, and I find myself whistling and thinking about it all the time. Like I gotta just start figuring out some Ableton, and I just throw in some tracks down. Just starting to experiment with it, because I think that could really be a fulfilling aspect of the creative aspect of my life.
How old were you when you did that?
I was in my biggest were in grade 6, 7, and 8. Those were, so I was like 14 or 13, 14, 15.
Yeah. And that sound, when everyone sings together, I was in choir in school, and when that sound of everyone singing together, I would tear up, man, many times, just like, wow, it's so magical. I couldn't imagine what it was like in a big church like that. I bet it sounded amazing.
It was amazing. There actually is, and I haven't been able to find the time, because I do a lot of, I like sports, so I spend a lot of my evenings or my few free evenings doing sports. But there's a local choir here for adults, and they sing like the Smiths, and they sing sing really cool shit. So I really want to. I think I'm gonna this winter I might join the choir and see if I can recapture some of that singing glory.
You should do it, man. Just go up there, put your robe on, and hallelujah.
No matter what they're singing, I'll just sing hallelujah in a robe.
Well, I've seen some choir directors and like high school band directors now that are giving the kids hip music. They'll do like a Black Sabbath song on xylophones and the marching band.
Nice.
Or the choir, instead of singing hallelujah or whatever, they'll do a Lady Gaga song, or something cool. So there's some cool stuff going on with it. But yeah, man, singing with a group is almost like an out-of-body experience. It makes your whole body tingle, and there's something really, I don't know, ancient and kind of magic about it. Just people's voices singing together in these weird notes that go together. It's like, whoa, and if you get out of it, it sounds terrible, but if you go back up, it sounds perfect. Magical, man. That's cool you did that. I didn't have any idea.
Yeah, so affiliate marketers out there, let's all join a choir. When we get together in Bangkok, we'll sing some Lady Gaga. It's going to be huge. Mahlon, thank you so much for doing this today. I really appreciate it. People want to get in touch with you. They're going to, first of all, go to your YouTube. Check out Mahlon Darris on YouTube. His content's just amazing. Mad Society, what's the URL on Mad Society?
It's madsociety.net. And we just did all the social profiles launched yesterday. And so you can go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and they're all Mad Society Net. One word. Mad Society Net. Yeah, man.
And we're gonna have to I gotta do something in LA, because we gotta find a way to involve you in some way. And I know you're not a huge fan of traveling long distances. I'm going to Moscow on Monday for the first time, which is like a 20-hour flight for a 6-day trip. It's kind of like a bucket list thing. I want to go check out Moscow. I'm excited about it, but I'm not. That takes a couple months off your life, probably, that sort of trip.
That's brutal to travel. Someone just invited me to speak in Asia. And I said, "Are you kidding me? Like, you want me to fly to Asia, do a speech, and then fly home? Like, how many millions of dollars are we talking about here? Because that's how you're out of your mind."
I know the guy who invited you.
I'm not a travel guy. But maybe someday I will. Maybe if I take sleeping pills on a plane or something.
I just got my prescription.
Good luck with the Moscow trip. Oh, cool. See, you're a wise human being.
I need those.
Get on the plane, fall asleep for 20 hours, and wake up in Moscow.
That's what I'm gonna do. But before, I will find a way to get out and visit you, because I think I'd love to hang out sometime and hit up one of those shops and maybe we could lay down a few tracks.
Yeah, man, you come to LA, I'm game, but I'm not going to Asia to hang out. There's
okay.
No way.
That sounds like a deal. I'm going to take you up on that.
Yeah, man, cool.
Okay. Thanks again.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Bye.